Oh my god. Hello everybody. Welcome back. Konnichiwa to another Papa Tkyos React to Japan videos series where I react to other YouTubers making videos about Japan here on my channel every Friday, 9 a.m. Good to see you guys again. And today we're looking at the Tokyo Reporter who used to be Nobita in Japan, I think. And but he had a big crisis about Black Lives Matter. And I mean, he had some pretty base takes, but yeah, I don't think they liked it too much, so he did a rebranding. And anyway, aside from all that stuff, he's got some good content, and today he's got a video called, what is this called? It's called Problems of Japan's Dual Nationality. And, shit. So anyway, yeah, Nobita's a cool dude. You know, it's funny because, like, I met him before, and he doesn't talk like this. Like, he puts on this accent for the camera. He speaks pretty normally, but, hey, I mean, you gotta sell the, you know, Arnold Schwarzenegger wasn't the Arnold Schwarzenegger because he talked like a normal American. He had that voice. So, anyway, let's get into the video, shall we? Boom, let's check this out. Look at this sexy man. Okay, let's get into it. Yeah, buddy.
I have only one nationality, so totally didn't notice until recently that Japan has a weird system when it comes to dual citizenship. The law saying that we don't allow you to have double nationality. And I think that's what most people in Japan believe. Like, people in this country have only one nationality, right? But in reality, many of the half Japanese people I talk to still have two nationalities and two passports. And they've got no punishment so far, like even after 30 or 40. So I found it weird first. But when it's
but the reason why that doesn't happen, God, I'm already 5 seconds into the video. The reason why people don't get in trouble is because they don't really travel, you know? The only time you get in trouble is when you move and you go somewhere with one passport and then you arrive in the other country with the other passport, and then when you come back, you get in trouble. So a lot of people have the dual nationality, they just never use the other passport because they're only doing, like, you know, 3-month vacations in other places, or they're getting visas to other countries. So yeah, that's how they don't get in trouble with that. But yeah, like, if you have two passports but then you, like, lived out of Japan for a while, and yeah. Anyway, let's get back to the video.
Thought about it, it kind of makes sense because how nationality works is different country to country, and some countries don't allow you renounce the nationality no matter what, like these countries. So you can't choose to have only Japanese nationality, right?
I didn't
when
know
you
that
check
you can't
the law,
revoke it there.
they tell you like this. So it's not like a mandatory order that you're gonna be forced, but it's more like just encouraging you to do so. Now, don't get me wrong, it doesn't mean Japan recognizes dual nationality. They clearly don't, at least for now. But like I said, even if
Oh yeah, and shit, God, I mean, he's probably gonna explain it in the video, but for all of you guys who are thinking about this or whatever, the catch here is that you can be a dual citizen here, but if they catch you using the dual passport, like you're like American Japanese, right? And you go to America for a year, and then, like, you know, you leave on your Japanese passport, but then you come back. You go into America with your American passport, but then you come back to Japan with your Japanese passport. They're gonna be like, dude, you were gone for a year. I don't see any visa stamps in here. What the fuck? And then Japan, if you're making, like, a lot of money, and they notice that, then they'll be like, okay, keep your other citizenship. You're not allowed in the country anymore. We took away your citizenship. You're banned now. So that's the catch, is that if you pretend like you don't have that, Japan could take away the citizenship that you worked really hard to get. So anyway, let's keep going. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt.
if you have two nationalities, it's unlikely that your either nationality would be taken away by the government, unless you willingly give up on either nationality. And those who don't choose willingly yet still have two nationalities without getting any trouble. Having said all that, what about a Japanese person moving to another country and naturalize there? That's right, people in this case might get in trouble.
So to my understanding, you could actually have two nationalities, even though it's not legally okay.
But then the only category, only one category of people who cannot do that is the people who are like me.
She moved to the States and became a US citizen in 2004. When she was renewing her Japanese passport, the application got rejected. So currently you stay in Japan as a foreigner with a US passport.
Legally speaking, the Japanese government will probably define me as a illegally overstaying a foreigner. But I haven't gotten any problem because I never tried to go out.
Ah, you mean outside of Japan?
In Japan, mainly the proof of citizenship is whether you have a koseki or not, which proves my Japanese nationality. So as long as I enter Japan, I could live as a normal Japanese person, but then entry and then exit, I may get into problem.
Actually, there are so many other
Yeah, that woman here. Wait, I want to chime in. Oh, this is such a good video. Good job, Nobita. Yeah, I saw her on Japanese TV. I was watching. They have this channel called Ameba Channel where they get all these different people to be interviewed, and she's famous because she's a lawyer and she lived in America for I don't know, like 10, 20 years or something. I think she was married to an American guy and they got kids. They got like a house and like, you know, the family there or whatever, but her mom was dying, so she came back to Japan and they were like, wait, you've been gone for like a long time, bro, like what the fuck? And she's like, yeah, I'm you know, I kind of got that American citizenship. And then they were like, okay, well, yeah, well, you obviously chose that side, and so yeah, we're not gonna let you be a Japanese citizen anymore. And she's like, what the fuck? And so it basically means, like she was saying right there, like she can stay in Japan. She's still technically Japanese on paper or whatever. I don't know what that means when it comes to like what do you call it? Like getting a driver's license or whatever. But yeah, like if she leaves Japan, she just won't be able to come back. And so that's the technicality there. So fuck, dude, damn.
other Japanese like her, so-called gray zone Japanese, and their
Gray
freedom
zone
could
Japanese.
be limited
But-
a lot. And she decided
But to be fair, because when I saw the news story too, I was like, what the fuck? That is bullshit. Like, you know, like they can't, because she took the Japanese court to the higher court or something. She's like, what the fuck? You should allow dual nationality or whatever, and they rejected it. And I was like, that fucking sucks. That's bullshit. But there was a lot of Japanese people in the comments section, and they were like, how is this lady a lawyer and she did not know this stuff? I mean, your job is literally knowing the law. And like one of her comments was that she was feigning ignorance to like, oh, I didn't know, you know, I thought it was America, you know. And people were like, I really doubt that she's a lawyer, and she, like, you know, your job is knowing the law, and you somehow didn't know, like you feigned ignorance. Like, come on, lady. But either way, I mean, like, you know, I love the blend of Japan and America, so you know, I'm torn on this. Let's keep going.
to file a lawsuit with the Japanese court, which is still in the process as we speak.
I thought that this is unconstitutional, violate our rights. Also, I found that it is not possible for the government to implement what the law says. Because when we ask the government, do you know how many people have naturalized in the foreign countries? They say, we have no idea. So
Yeah.
we say, if you don't know who and how many, how do you control it? They cannot control it.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. It's kind of meaningless to have a law we can't actually implement.
And I have gotten a lot of requests or consultation from people, Japanese people all over the world, saying, what's going on? I cannot go back to Japan.
You mean they can't renew their Japanese passports?
Some of them knew, some of them didn't know. If they go to a closest Japanese embassy or consulate, they will be asked the question, what kind of visa are you staying with in this particular country? Then they will find out, okay, you naturalize. You are no longer Japanese. So we don't issue Japanese passport. And
Yeah, dude, but I mean, like, come on, how do you not know this? Like, how do you go through, like, dude, like, the visa process in Japan is not like Skittles, you know, it's a full-on bakery, you know, like, you gotta go through, there's a lot of steps, like, there's no way that you can't not know this, right? I mean, like, if you're becoming a if you're becoming a Japanese citizen, you're supposed to give them like a piece of paper, because like I want to become a Japanese citizen at some point, and you have to give them like clarification at some point that you no longer are an American, in my case, right? But if you don't give that to them eventually, and then they check on you one day and they're like, oh, you didn't get, they won't check on you, but if they did check on you, then they're like, oh, you're still American? Okay, you don't get to be Japanese anymore. So all these Japanese people are like, oh, wait, what? Like, what? I couldn't do that? Like, come on, bro. Thought I was America. And they're like, nah, I don't play like that. It's not, because like a lot of Japanese people, they'll just like, it's easier to renew like it's easier than renewing a visa, right? Or like getting a green card, is just becoming a citizen in some places. But yeah, and then they're like, oh, I can't go back to Japan now. And one of the big reasons I heard from my immigration lawyer, the reason why Japan doesn't like people being dual nationals is exactly that reason, that they don't know how many people are abroad that are dual nationals right now. And if they I don't know if Japan does a mail-in voting system like America does, but I don't think those systems work in general. I don't think they really count for anything. But my immigration lawyer buddy told me that like there's so many Japanese people abroad, the government thinks that if they wanted to do mail-in voting or they wanted to come back to Japan and vote on an election, they could sway an election one way, and that's why they're afraid of that. So they don't want other people to, because they know Japan's like Japanese people living in Japan, it's tough for them. So like a lot of people just want to go live abroad, but they still want to be Japanese. They still want to have the benefits of Japan, but not having to put up with the bullshit that they have to put up with being in Japan. And so yeah, Japan's like, no, we don't want those assholes to decide what's going on. So, like, they kind of want to kick them out of the cool kids club because they're not paying their dues. But anyway, let's keep going. I'm interrupted too much. Boom.
I have personally known several people not able to see dying parents, so they miss a chance of seeing them for the last time. This law gives a lot of suffering to those people.
Could you tell me what's the public reaction like in Japan? Do they react to your action positively or negatively?
Many people say, why they don't become satisfied having one? Why are they demanding to? That's really greedy. That was kind of a reaction we got a lot. And then when you look into the academic field, like constitutional scholars and other like university professors, all of them, 100% of them support our side that this law violating the constitution.
I see. So expats can see that there's something wrong with that, but maybe it doesn't make sense to ordinary citizens in Japan.
Like don't really understand why people need two nationalities.
Another issue would be that it kind of makes us believe that someone has to be only either Japanese or foreigner in this country. Coming to Japan, so many people feeling like the treatment toward a Japanese and foreign person is completely different, and even those who are born and raised here often get treated as foreigners. So some people say that maybe the law itself isn't the issue, but the influence is. To make my point clear, let's compare to South Korea, where quite similar to Japan in the sense that both countries are quite homogeneous, unlike Western countries like the US or Canada. But as you may already know, South Korea does recognize dual nationality, and even though it's quite recent, you might see the difference if you actually go there.
Difference I felt when I was in Korea. Obviously, I am a white person, so they know I'm not Korean.
Oh, wow.
But when I would go into a shop, first they would speak to me in Korean, and I would say like, oh, sorry, I don't speak Korean. And then they would switch and talk to me in English, and it was very friendly. But in Japan, I think there's more of an assumption that I definitely don't speak Japanese, so they don't try to talk to me at all sometimes. So it feels less welcoming and friendly in some of the shops. Now, especially that there's more tourists coming back after COVID, I get that more. I get the English menu more often, and people try to speak to me in broken English.
Needless to say, that
Wait. Was that lady living in Korea or was she living in Japan? I don't understand. Wait, hold on. Let's go back.
you might see the difference if you actually go there.
Difference I felt when I was in Korea. Obviously, I am a white person, so they know I'm not Korean. But when I would go into a shop, first they would speak to me in Korean, and I would say like, oh, sorry, I don't speak Korean. And then they would switch and talk to me in English, and it was very friendly. But in Japan, I think there's more of an assumption that I definitely don't speak Japanese, so they don't try to talk to me at all sometimes. So it feels less welcoming and friendly in some.
Who is this chick? Do any of you guys know? Like, I'm missing some context here. Is she like a Japanese citizen or something? I don't understand. Like, see, this is why I like Takashi in Japan's videos, because he always has like a little reminder at the top left or right of like who this person is. Gives you like a little indicator. But dude, if you live outside of Tokyo or any major city, like they're gonna talk to you in Japanese. I mean, I lived in the countryside of Chiba for like what 2 years and like even Chiba City for 2 years. Nobody spoke to me in English. They just like I don't know if this woman just lives in Tokyo, but anywhere I go, they just assumed that like, oh, if this guy's in this part of Japan, then he's not a tourist. This guy speaks Japanese, so they'll just speak to you in Japanese. They might speak to you like a little bit dumbed down, but if you speak Japanese, if you fucking speak Japanese and you're like, yeah, 大丈夫ですよ。日本語のメニューでも構いませんですよ。You know, if you say something in Japanese, then they'll be like, oh, this guy motherfucker, okay, yeah, that's fine, good. Oh, poof. Japanese people are actually a lot more relieved when they find out that you do speak Japanese. So, you know, this whole like, well, they don't try to talk to me. I get triggered by this. I'm a triggered white woman on the internet right now. That's how I feel with my testicles. Because it's like, nah, dude, like, these Asian people in Asia didn't treat me like an Asian person. I'm like, come on, bro. Like, what are you doing? You know, it's like one of those things where people complain about microaggressions on Twitter. I don't like it. Let's keep going.
Some of the shops now, especially that there's more tourists coming back after COVID, I get that more.
Goddamn
I get
tourists.
the English menu more often, and people try to speak to me in broken English.
Needless to say, that's
So who
not
cares?
only
You speak
because
back in
Korea
Japanese then.
recognizes dual nationality and Japan doesn't. But that could be a possible factor for the separation in your head. Basically, our mindset is like, anybody who is not Japanese gets into exactly the same category always, which is gaijin.
To them, gaijin just equals non-Japanese. For
Teaching
example,
English in
they'll make
Japan,
a mistake
okay.
in their essay and say, I want to go to America to talk to foreigners. And I say, if you go to America, you're a foreigner. They are not foreigners. I do think it's weird to kind of lump everyone who's not Japanese into one word. At least anywhere I've been, I haven't heard people say foreigners are blah, 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 or foreigners are... It's only in Japan I've heard it used like that.
日本人でもあるしカメルーン人でもある。
でもいいじゃねえか、別に. That's oh yeah, that's Rune, by the way. That's my buddy. We'll get into that in a second. But I mean, that's one of the nice things about living in Japan. It's a homogenous society, you know, with few foreigners. We only make up like 2 or 3% of the country here, you know, and it's good. Like, it's one of those things where it's like you're choosing to be offended by I know she's not trying to pick a fight or anything, but it's just like, yeah, well, they lump me in with this other thing. Well, if you speak Japanese and you got your shit under control, it doesn't matter who, like, whoever treats you what. Anyway, let's get back into it. Let's just keep going.
It's only in Japan I've heard it used like that.
日本人でもあるしカメルーン人でもあると思ってるんですよ。だから2つの国のアイデンティティを有してる人間っていうのは僕は自然に受け止められるんです。でも、日本の人はむしろそういうのピンとこないんですよね。だから日本人なのか外国人なのかはっきりしてほしい。国籍っていうのをちゃんと明確にしなければいけないっていう行政上の理由はあるにしても、その人が何人であるかっていうアイデンティティな問題で言えば、日本人でありながらもう一方の外国人のアイデンティティも持つっていうことはあり得るんだよっていうようなことが分かる人も増えてはきてるけど、分かっていない日本人も多いし、ハーフのいわゆる子たちの中でもそれに苦しんでる子もいて、選ばなきゃみたいになってて、僕はいやどっちも持ってていいよって、どっちでもないっていうのも別にいいんだよ。あなたがもう私は地球人だから、ただ日本国籍を持ってるだけですっていうアイデンティティも別にいいしね。だから複数があるっていうのを想像できないんです。
Despite the rising pressure for revising the law, Japan still insists and concerns that there will be a negative consequence.
The government insists that there is a real bad effect of multiple nationalities, which we don't find. We say, okay, then give us any examples. But the government does not give concrete examples because they don't have any.
So they don't give you any sort of evidence or reasons.
They want to keep it that way because it has been that way.
So now allowing dual nationality, what would be your biggest concern for Japan?
Japan is losing like 500 or 600,000 people per year. One side, they are saying, well, we want to have more people coming, but we are not wanted.
Yeah, that could be a negative effect for Japan, given the fact that our population declining a lot.
So I don't know why they have to say, we don't need any people who have naturalized outside. We don't want anybody to come back or be Japanese. Why do you do that when you have a problem of having less people?
二重国籍とか認めてる国もたくさんあるじゃないですか。二重国籍を認めたとしても何も問題が起きずに全然普通に円滑に国が回る可能性なんか存分にあるんだけど、複数の国籍をもう取っていることがデメリットがあるとか、なんか問題が起きるって思ってる人がいるんだけど、本当ちゃんとしたエビデンスあるの？なんか妄想の可能性もあるんですよ。
According to a survey by Aomori University, about 70% would be okay with the current system, and especially when a public person disclosing their dual nationality, they might receive some backlash. And seeing that, maybe some people in the same boat feel some sort of fear or guilty.
That politician right there.
Would be okay with the current system, and especially when a public person disclosing their dual nationality, they might receive.
Yeah, Renho, this was like she was a swimsuit model who became I don't know, I forgot what she did, but she became something in the government, but she had a scandal because they were like, wait a second, you're still a citizen of Taiwan, and she's like, oh fuck, I forgot to get rid of that. And so yeah, because I think she grew up in Japan, she never used the Taiwan citizenship, but yeah, that's a thing. Let's keep going.
Give some backlash, and seeing that maybe some people in the same boat feel some sort of fear or guilty. But to anyone strongly connected to both parents' heritage and cultures, losing nationality might be equal to losing their identity, so they want to keep both. Actually, according to a survey by Japan Times, nearly 80% have both and no intention to renounce either one. But what I found is that when I asked some of the half Japanese people I know for an interview about their dual nationality, all of them rejected to be on camera, and this is one of them told me.
Well, duh.
Which I totally understand. Probably it doesn't feel right to them, even if they're not gonna get any punishment, because to many Japanese people, nobody is supposed to have multiple nationalities and it's illegal. Let me share a story that happened to one of the half Japanese.
Isn't Nobita? I thought Nobita's married to like a white chick. Does he have a kid? If so, then like I know that guy Megwin, that he's a Japan YouTuber that hung out with foreigners a lot. Like he's married to a white chick, and I think they have a kid. But yeah, I don't know, man. It's just like I think that in a way, isn't it kind of nice though that Japan doesn't follow the rules of everywhere else? Like that's like isn't that kind of like nice in a way? I know people probably won't agree with me on this, but it's like, isn't it cool that Japan doesn't do what everybody else does? Like it might not be logical, but isn't it nice in a way? Because it's like, if you want to come here, you got to do stuff our way. We don't do things the way that you're from. And it's like, I don't think there's anything wrong with telling people you got to pick one. You know, you're either on our team or you're on the other one. It's like, why can't I be both? And it's like, well, I don't know. Isn't that kind of like, well, why can't I be in an open relationship with my husband kind of thing? It's like, oh, I can still love him as much, but I could sleep with another person. I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with the government saying, nah, you should pick one. You're on our side or you're not. It's okay. This place is for people that's on our side, and then people that are mercenaries, the foreigners with visas, are on our side. But, you know, like, we're the real guys. I don't know. Let's keep going.
Japanese I talked to. Growing up in southern Japan, when he was in high school, he applied for a job first time, and in the interview, he was asked, 君の国籍ってどこなの？日本とオーストラリアです。ずっと日本で育ってきたので、日本語に問題はありません。And this is what the manager told him next. After all, he was politely rejected, and since then, he's been feeling quite bad about his dual nationality. Now, to be honest with you, that kind of story isn't rare in Japan, and maybe that's why not many half Japanese talk about their dual nationality. By the way, when it comes to international marriage, the number has been actually declining since 2006, and some people say the lack of dual nationality might be one of the big concerns for those wanting to raise kids.
I love it how
this
he keeps
is
showing
Daichi
white
and
people
Amy, who got married
Japanese
4 years ago and now raising a 3-year-old son. I was curious to know their perspective.
心配してることってありますか？この間実はそれで話したんだよね。そうすけ18歳だっけ選ぶのって子供。
今は20歳。
アメリカと日本だと日本の方が安全だよね。で日本の方がまあ飯うまいのかなみたいなことを考えると日本なんだけど、でもアメリカに行けばダイバーシティだから、まあいろんな人とやれるっていう力はつくのかなみたいな。
studying in America right now is astronomically expensive, but maybe he wants to go live in the US for a little bit. So it's also important for me to get him an American passport so I can go home without any issues.
彼が選んだらいいんじゃないってこの間ね、寝るとき話してて少し。
Maybe some international couples
Yeah, you
worry
play with that
about
cat.
bullying or identity crisis their kids might be going to face in Japan. But they say they wouldn't worry too much about the future.
Compared to when I was in high school, I feel like I see so much more half kids than even in when I came here in 2010. Plus, Japan's population is shrinking, so my opinion, they can't be that picky about who parents want as children.
せっかくさ、日本でアメリカでしょ。だから今は日本で6歳から10歳まではじゃあアメリカでとかさ。
2つの文化を入れた感じにしたいですか？入れた。
もうだってそうだよね。スタートがそうだから。
I don't know why it has to be one or the other. I feel like there's a lot of half kids who feel like they have to choose one. Like, no, you don't. For me personally, I want to give him enough of an education to be able to leave Japan as he pleases. So he realizes there's more than just Japanese people in the world, to get a sense of how different ideas from all over the world too, and see what makes sense for him. Since Japan is facing such a population decline, I don't know if that's going to be a positive thing or if we'll even be able to stay here in the future. So that's something that I always keep in the back of my mind in case like we do have to actually move.
Regarding that, if Japan wants people having two nationalities to remain in this country, maybe we need to start creating a society like that. Like having dual nationality and having two cultures in one person would be possible. So that people like half Japanese would be more accepted. And perhaps Japan's
Ariel, I know her.
population wouldn't have to decline even more.
I would like the society, Japanese society, to be open, especially in Japan. Population is aging, and I think that we all have the rights to come back to a place where we are born and raised. Taking away nationality, that is not right. So that's why I'm fighting.
Yeah, so, damn it, what's the thing? Come on here. Where's the thing? I clicked on the wrong thing. Anyway, yeah, guys, I don't know. What do you think about this? I kind of gave all the 2 cents about this that I wanted to give already, but yeah, let me know. What do you think? I don't think it's, I don't know. I mean, like, I already stated my opinion on this, but it's like, look, at the end of the day, like, I don't really care if they say you can't have 2 passports to live, like, to be a Japanese person. But if people want to fight for that right, I'm not gonna stop them either, you know. Like, but I don't really mind. But anyway, you guys let me know in the comments down below. And yeah, I'm gonna put the link for this video in the video description. So yeah, make sure to go over and subscribe to the Japan Reporter's channel. Let him know that you think he's cool and everything. And yeah, guys, anyway, if you have any other videos that are kind of related to this topic that you'd like me to react to, make sure to put those down in the comments down below. And like always, don't forget to smash that like button and follow us on social media. Join the Discord. We got a really good Discord going on. And if you guys ever wanted to learn Japanese, make sure to go check out the Patreon at patreon.com/Tkyosam and sign up for those sweet, sweet Japanese lessons so you can come over to Japan and you can speak Japanese and maybe become Japanese. Anyway, stay black. Otsukaresama deshita. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Yeah, buddy.
And started caring about something with all your heart and energy, but you can't care about it if you're always holding yourself back in case it doesn't work out.